There's a video that's been watched over 35 million times. Most people who see it say the same thing, that it doesn't look real. It's surveillance footage. Grainy, time-stamped, nothing special on the surface. An elevator, a young woman in a red coat. And then, behavior that no one has ever been able to fully explain. Her name was Elisa Lam. She was 21 years old, a student from Vancouver, Canada. She loved books, wrote a blog about her life, and was traveling the West Coast alone, an adventure she'd been planning for a long time. Elisa Lam grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia, in a family of Chinese-Canadian immigrants. By her own account, she was thoughtful and introspective, a lover of literature, of travel, of the idea that the world was something to explore. She also lived with bipolar disorder. She wrote about it openly on her Tumblr, not for sympathy, but because she believed in honesty. She was managing it, she was medicated, she was doing okay. In late January 2013, Elisa boarded a flight south. Her plan was to travel from Los Angeles down to San Diego and Santa Cruz. She checked into the Stay on Main hotel on January 26th. It was budget-friendly, it was central. What she didn't know, what most guests didn't know, was the history of the building she was sleeping in. The Cecil Hotel has one of the darkest reputations in Los Angeles. Serial killers had stayed there. A dozen people had died there over the decades. By 2013, it had rebranded its upper floors as Stay on Main to attract budget travelers. On the night of January 31st, 2013, Elisa Lam was captured on elevator security footage. What happened in that footage has never been fully explained. She enters the elevator, presses multiple buttons, waits. The doors don't close. She leans out into the hallway, checking for something, or someone. She steps out, presses herself against the wall beside the door. Her hands begin to move in ways that are difficult to describe. Fluid, unusual, like she is communicating in a language only she can see. She disappears from frame. The elevator doors finally close, then open again. Close. Open. As if something is holding them. That was the last time Elisa Lam was seen alive. Her parents reported her missing on February 8th, a week after that footage was recorded. LAPD launched a search. The hotel was checked. Nothing was found. The elevator video was released to the public on February 14th, Valentine's Day, in the hope that someone might recognize her or explain her behavior. Instead, it went viral, and the theory started. For nearly 3 weeks, guests at the Stay on Main had been complaining. The water pressure was odd. The water looked discolored. Some said it tasted strange. On February 19th, 2013, a maintenance worker climbed to the roof to inspect the water tanks. He found Elisa Lam's body inside one of the large rooftop cisterns. She was floating, unclothed, in a tank that required a ladder to access. The hatch had been closed from the outside. The guests who had been drinking and bathing in that water for weeks did not know until later. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled Elisa Lam's death an accidental drowning. Bipolar disorder and her medications were cited as contributing factors. But the questions that remained were not small ones. How did she get to the roof? Rooftop access required a key card, and the door was alarmed. No alarm was triggered that night. How did she get inside the tank? The cistern was over 8 feet tall. The opening was at the top. Getting in would have required climbing a ladder, in the dark, alone, on a rooftop, with no obvious motive. The coroner's toxicology found her medications in her system at therapeutic levels, not overdose levels, nothing indicating a drug episode. Investigators reviewed hotel security footage from the roof access areas. They found no evidence of another person, no signs of a struggle, no DNA pointing to foul play. The internet had its own theories, hundreds of them. Some pointed to the Cecil's dark history, some to the elevator footage, some to a tuberculosis test kit called Lam Elisa that happened to be deployed in the area that same month. Some built elaborate theories around a horror film called Dark Water, released years before. None of them were confirmed. Most were projection. We don't know with certainty how Elisa Lam ended up in that water tank. The official record says accident. The questions left in the record say, we're not entirely sure. What I keep coming back to, what I think we owe her, is this. Elisa Lam was a person before she was a mystery. She wrote about loving Vancouver in autumn. She wrote about bookstores being her favorite places on earth. She wrote, I just want to be happy, and I will work at it. She was 21 years old. She was working at it. Her parents sued the hotel in 2014. The case was studied out of court. The Cecil Hotel closed again in 2017. Reopened, struggled. The water tanks on the roof were eventually removed. The elevator footage is still online. People still watch it.